We live. There's something happening here.
But what it
ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there. Me, I got to beware. Woo! Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going round. What's happening out there, man? What is going on? Paranoia.
There's Babylon's being drawn, but nobody's
right. If everybody's wrong. Young people speak on their minds. So much resistance. It's the 60s all over. The kids are marching on Washington. You know, I'm your host, BKP. I don't know. I just had to do that. Stop, children. What's that sound? I just had to do that. The kids are marching. They went to Tallahassee. The Obama kids are marching. We got a lot going on. Let me put my apples over here, folks. I got to get situated. Apples over here. There is a reason. I know it's premature, and I know you're not going to like this, okay? I understand, but we are coming up on March. We're just around the corner. It will not be long till it will be time for March Madness. And when March Madness comes out, I will have to put my UNC Tar Heels 1981-1982, for some of you children out there that were not born yet. Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, 1981-1982 National Championship commemorative Coke bottle. So how old is this bottle? That's a pretty good Coke. That's what the guy said, right? That's some pretty good Coke right there, right? 1981-1982 championship, Tar Heels 32-2, March 29th, 1982, the Superdome in New Orleans, UNC 63, Georgetown. Would that be Patrick Ewing? 62. Just saying. I don't know. I don't remember. Just getting it out there, having fun. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. It is Wednesday. We have a lot going on. Folks, gun control equals people control, okay? Now, I know what you're hearing is they are trying to beg Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, to listen to the reasonable people in this country. The reasonable people, not the far fringe. Amanda, I am fringe. I'm going to take it and wear it with honor. It's a badge of honor. Just like they said the NRA, a badge of disgrace, I'm going to take fringe. Are you okay with that?
You are far out there.
What?
You are far out there.
I'm going with fringe. I'm going to go with fringe. Okay, I am on the fringe. Do not listen to the fringe right. Okay, and make common sense gun legislative choices. It's time we stop doing what's killing our children. Really, folks? Really? Wow. Okay. What's killing our children? Now, I'm not going to get into this, but I'm going to go in some directions that I know everybody's talking about bump stocks. Folks, bump stocks, which will allow a semi-automatic weapon to turn into an automatic weapon. Guess what? They were legal when with President Barack Obama. So Sinead O'Connor, what's that kid's name? Gomez or Gonzalez, or what's her name?
Emma Gonzalez.
Emma, put Emma's picture. Emma here, the modern day Sinead O'Connor, right, is running around everywhere yelling as loud as she can into a microphone, and this young lady should be upset with Obama. Anyhow, let's get away from that. gun control, that is not the top subject we have. Now it's Wednesday. Amanda, let me ask you a question. Now, you know, I always like to keep up with things. Okay? Somebody said to me yesterday, and I'm not getting off track here, but somebody said to me yesterday, they enjoyed chatting with me. I'm like, what the hell, chatting with me? Who the hell do I look like, Chatty Cathy? I mean, you know, when you chat with somebody, I'm envisioning like tea and biscuits. Is that what they do over across the pond? You know what I mean, Amanda?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. You are a little bit of a chatty Cathy, though.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you really can't ever keep your mouth shut.
No. Oh, hell. That was that
Hey,
one
you
right
wanted
there.
to fight this morning. You got to fight.
That went with, oh, hell. Oh, hell, you didn't. That's what they say. Okay? That's what they say. Oh, hell. Oh, hell. Oh, hell no. You didn't do that. All right, folks, let's have fun today. There's been a lot of stress. There's been a lot going on. Let's have some fun. Let's unwind. Okay? What are they saying? Now, HQ2. All right? HQ2. No gay, no way. What is HQ2? Amazon's new headquarters. There you go. HQ2, no gay, no way. I mean, is wrong message on Amazon HQ2 decision. The LGBT community activists, want Amazon to reject bids for its second headquarters from cities located in states without civil rights protection. Okay? Hey, no gay, no way. Urging employees like Amazon to boycott the sidestep states and regions wholesales if flawed at best and risky and harmful at worst. Welcoming more forward-thinking companies will help raise the tide of equality in states that lack protection now. I told you this. I told you over and over. Amazon wants to bring their brand of normal to your state, a state near you. That's what they want to do. They want the LGBT community wants Amazon welcoming more forward-thinking companies will help. They say more forward-thinking companies will help raise the tide of equality in states that lack protections now. Atlanta, Georgia, Nathan Deal, Speaker David Ralston, State Senator Steve Gooch, Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle say no to HQ2. For no other reason than to pay attention. Damn it, while they're out there trying to pay attention to gun legislation, while they're trying to pay attention to this, that, and the other thing that the media of the deep state keep putting on the top level, I'm trying to dig under and tell you when these political analysts start gushing on election night. You know that damn 2 weeks before election and it starts going toss-up? They've moved Georgia into toss-up. And then the talking heads, the brilliant people that are much smarter than me because they have many degrees from the communist state universities that we have all across this country, okay? The leftist propaganda universities, they have all these degrees. They're much smarter than me. They will be in 2 weeks before an election saying, will Georgia turn purple? Will it turn purple? I'm here to tell you that Governor Nathan Deal has done everything he possibly can to turn the state of Georgia purple, and I pray that he will leave office on a high note and not kiss HQ2 Amazon's ass. I'm sorry. Did I say all that? Because I'm telling you right now, it's got nothing to do with your LGBT, all right? I don't care. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I don't care who you sock it to, but don't bring it to my town and tell me you're going to sway, because that's what they want to do. You got to stop missing the underlying meanings of what's going on here, okay? Hey, look, if today Doug wants to be Donna, I don't care. I don't give a rat's, okay? If Barbara wants to be Billy, I don't care. If what the hell? If you want to be a frog, I don't give a rat's. I don't care. But stop what's going on here with this HQ2. I'm telling you right now, you better pay attention, Georgia. Georgia better wake up. Listen to this one more time. Welcoming, this is what the LGBT community says to Amazon. No gay, no way is wrong message on Amazon HQ2 decision. Welcoming more forward-thinking companies will help raise the tide. Remember the tide. The tide to sweep Nancy Pelosi. This all goes together. You don't listen. It all goes together. Look at what a liberal Supreme Court in the state of Pennsylvania did yesterday, swaying the tide of 10 congressional seats. 10 congressional seats, they swung the tide. Democrats only need 24 seats for Nancy Pelosi. She's in there measuring the damn drapes now. Don't think Georgia is a red state if you keep doing things like cutting taxes, giving away everything to bring in these corporations. I'm just telling you, I'm in one of those damn moods, all right? It's Wednesday, I'm in the mood. All right, swing the tide of equality in states that lack protection now. No, swinging the tide of elections. That's how close you are in Georgia. Quit riding around this morning, okay, thinking you live in a damn red state. You need to wake up. You've imported Mercedes-Benz from New Jersey, gave them anything, rolled out the red carpet, kissed their asses and built a $1 billion stadium in downtown Atlanta so the roof could retract. And NFL millionaires can get on their damn knee and not stand for the national anthem. That's what the hell you did. Where did Mercedes-Benz come from? New Jersey. All the liberal lefties are over here, right? Boom, bring them right on down. Then we go get a tractor company out of Illinois. 500 or 5,000 union workers? We move right over into Georgia. There's a blue state. Come on in. And you got Porsche or whatever. You keep bringing all these lefties here and lefties there. Then, guess what? Georgia is the movie capital now, okay? They moved all the Hollywood lefties over to Georgia, and we gave them great tax breaks. If your ass got up and got in a car this morning and went to work, and you pay your taxes, you would love to have the tax breaks that we did to bring these people in here. But then they're going to tell you about our Georgia soaring economy. Soaring economy at what cost? Our soaring economy at what cost, folks? To turn the state blue? To turn the state blue? To go backwards? Blue? Oh, hell. I don't know where that came from, Amanda. I mean, I'm just all worked up.
You got a good point.
I mean,
keep rolling with it.
Okay, forward thinking. Okay, forward thinking. So we bring Amazon, okay, to Georgia, and they bring what? Their 50,000 employees or whatever. But we already know that the LGBT community wants Amazon to reject the bids for a second headquarters from any city located in states without civil rights protections. I'm trying to recap for a minute because I don't know what the hell I just said. But we imported all of them, folks. So next time you're sitting there, right? And you're a Republican, you're conservative, you want your gun, okay? You know, you want to be whatever. You know, you got your jacked up pickup truck, which is cool. I'm all good with that. I mean, don't look at me like I'm not good with that, all right? Whatever, you know? Hell, you know, you want to be gay? Go for it, damn it. I don't care. It's private property rights. I'm a private property person, okay? Private property, get out of my business. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But importing, you know, I tell you what. This is blue state immigration, right? This is almost, it should be illegal. I mean, you should be as concerned in some ways on how our number one state in the union to do business, Georgia, has attracted like a magnet all of these lefty voters and this lefty, you know what? I went places I should not have gone. It's just like, I feel like friggin' Star Trek this morning, right? Going where no man's ever gone before. Because I'm telling you right now, all right, I don't care what you want to do. Why am I the bad guy? If Barbara wants to be Bob today, the world's supposed to be okay with it. They're supposed to be okay with it. You know, if Doug wants to be Donna, hey, if I want to say what I want to say, why can't I be okay with it? No, I'll get attacked. Look at the 17-year-old kid over there in Ohio. I haven't pulled that story up. Have you heard that story in the last 2 days? 3 days? I'm talking to you in there. Have you heard about the transgender kid that's living with the grandparents? The court will not give their custody back to their parents?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Right? Because the kid claims to be transgender or whatever, so the kid's 17 and the court took the kid away so the kid could get the hormone therapy? What the hell is wrong with us? You know, the kid could get the hormone therapy at 17. I read this article. I'm like, no, this is not true. I thought it was fake news. I really did. I thought, oh, hell, you know, they're putting this on the internet. This has got to be fake news, right? So I look at it, and then a friend of mine, SP, sends it to me, right? One of my top researchers here, SP sends it over and puts it, and I get it there, and then I got it from another person. I'm like, holy smokes, 17-year-old kid. 17-year-old kid. Now, we're going to talk today. Oh, my God. What the hell? We're going to talk today whether an 18-year-old, okay? You know, we're going to talk today whether an 18-year-old kid should have to be 21 to buy any firearm at all. Okay, any at all. Okay, fine. All right. I remember, come on, no judging today, all right? We're all over the map. So anybody that's anything or whatever you are, you're all welcome here today because we're going to hit on a little bit of everything and everybody's going to get offended. So anyhow, here's the point, right? So when we're kids, I remember when it was legal, you know, to drink at 18. I'm just saying, don't go judging, all right? So it's legal to drink alcohol. You can go in, you can get a draft beer. I remember nickel night. I shouldn't remember nickel night. But anyhow, draft beer for a nickel, right? You had a cup like this. Nickel night. Oh, whew. You know, a bunch of 18-year-old guys bellied up at the bar for nickel night. Anyhow, so you could drink at 18, and then there's some states moved it to 19, and then it went to 21. I think it's 21 everywhere in the United States now to buy alcohol. And you hear the argument, well, you can go fight for your country when you're 18, but you can't buy a Budweiser. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. If you cannot legally own a firearm till you're 21 years old, are we going to change the age that you're allowed to enter the military? Or issue is going to be different? Can a kid enter the military at 18 years old? Can they? I mean, right?
They can actually enter at 17.
Can they?
Yeah.
So a kid can go in the military at 17?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering. I mean, kid can go in the military at 17 and fight for his country, fight for your freedom, can't buy a Budweiser. Kid can go in at 18, can't. That's the argument, right? So they're going to talk today about changing the gun laws to 21. All right, whatever. You hear all of that, okay? But I'm telling you now, it's to control the people. What if, you know, where would we have been in this country if 14-year-old kids would not have snuck away and lied? Do you know how many 16-year-olds lied to get into the military in World War II? You think it didn't happen? 16-year-old kids that had their head on straight. How many 14, 15-year-olds in the Civil War that went to fight for their country? I tell you what, we've lost it. I mean, I don't know. We have gone bat crap crazy. I can't say the bad word, but I can't say that on the air. All right, what else do I got coming up? I don't know what the hell did I say. Do you understand anything I said over there?
I do.
Okay, do you think I was halfway coherent, or was there anything that we can, anything we can use later, or anything that can, do you think there was anything that can be used against me in a court of law?
No.
That's my concern. Listen, around here yesterday,
you've got me going crazy through the window over here whenever we're about to get sued, so.
What?
You got me warning you through the window over here whenever we're about to get sued, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that the wave? Like, hey, back you off.
It's the frantic wave when I'm like this.
Oh,
like,
all right. That's the wave. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fine. All right, folks. Listen. Yesterday, Brian Kemp, candidate for governor of the state of Georgia. Okay. Had a bus tour. He is currently on a 50-county bus tour in 10 days or something like that, 50 counties in 10 days. Secretary of State Brian Kemp, which has been going through the Russian collusion conversation and where Georgia voting machines hacked. Wait a minute, I can't go there. Folks, there's two words. I'll get to Brian Kemp in a minute. There's two words. Here's my 2 words of the day. You ready? I got 2 words. This is not a joke, all right? If you think it's not. It's not a joke. I had my words ready. Where are they at? Okay, here's my word 1. Ready? Can you hear it? Wait a minute. Put it up. 2 words of the day.
Exculpatory.
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 That's our first word, exculpatory. We're going to talk about that later because nobody else is talking about it. Here's our second word of the day.
Inculpatory.
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 Inculpatory. Thank you, Webster, because you know how I am with 4 or 5 syllables.
Inculpatory.
Those are our 2 words. We're going to talk about those later. Plus, then put the picture up of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. What the hell? You're worried about bump stocks. I can't believe it, damn it, that you're worried about bump stocks and you're worried about gun control, and you're worried about this kid Sinead O'Connor, and you're worried about this other kid that was well rehearsed. We find out scripts have been written. The liberals are in. They're doing this. It's in the tank, folks. You're worried about Donald Trump's going to have a listening session. Great. Right here. These criminals right here. Okay? That is the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, the liberal activist judges that just swayed 10 congressional seats over to the Democrat with no fighting whatsoever. There's 18 congressional seats in the state of Pennsylvania. The congressional map was drawn in 2011. There's been no uproar. There's been no challenge to this map. None whatsoever. But now, just 3 months before the election in the state of Pennsylvania, because Republicans have been flipping the counties from blue to red, these districts, they rewrote the map, and then the Supreme Court upheld it. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court upheld it, meaning out of 18 congressional seats, the Republicans now hold 13 of them. 5 Democrat, 13 Pennsylvania congressional seats are for the Republicans. What this court did, these liberal activists, they moved 10 seats into the D column yesterday by geographically changing the districts, which not only make it give the Democrats a chance, it gives them full advantage. And there's several articles that say the Democrats won here. So 8 to 10 seats. Nancy Pelosi needs 24 friggin' seats. Paul Ryan, 24 friggin' seats. Congressman Doug Collins, 24 friggin' seats. Everybody needs to be up in arms over the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and we need to be going to the Supreme Court of the United States and saying no. 10 seats. All right. Okay, I wasn't going to go there, but I did. All right, yesterday, so Brian Kemp is the Secretary of State of Georgia. Brian Kemp, Secretary of State of Georgia, and he is on a bus tour, and he went over to Lumpkin County, and he spoke to voters at the Wagon Wheel in Dahlonega. Take that down. Put up Kemp's picture there for a minute, if you don't mind. He went over to Dahlonega, and he spoke there, and then he came over here to Fannin County to Circle J Restaurant, and he spoke to Fannin County voters. And then he came down to a Tea Party meeting in Gilmer County, and he spoke to voters there at a lunch. And we got an opportunity to sit down with Secretary of State of Georgia, Brian Kemp, who is a candidate for governor. And we're going to play this interview right after this. He's going to join us right after this break. Got 30 minutes with, and this is the beginning of our Georgia governor candidates. We're going to bring you all the Georgia governor candidates. Our rule is they can call in, they can talk to us, but from here on out, they can still call in. We can talk to Secretary of State Kemp as he's campaigning throughout the state by phone, but they have to come and do now an in-office interview. I mean, say our rule, but they need to come visit us, okay? Secretary of State did, and I'm sure the others will. We're going to bring you every candidate in here, and then we're going to take what every candidate says and start working down and drilling down on what they really mean. I actually asked, and I'll say this publicly because I don't care, I have moderated several debates, moderated the only real debate. A lot of them are forums. No disrespect to a lot of my GOP friends in the 9th districts that are holding debates, but a lot of them are more like forums instead of debates. But still yet, I moderated the only real debate between Doug Collins, Congressman Collins, Paul Brown, former Congressman Paul Brown, and Mike Scapine, and the general, and Roger Fitzpatrick. There's 5 candidates. I don't want to forget anybody and get in trouble, but there was 5 candidates. I moderated the only real debate where I let the candidates really dig in and go into the issues. I put the issues out and let them go back and forth on the issues. I offered a real debate to Brian Kemp yesterday, and he said he would be interested in something like that. All right, not a yes or no, but he would be interested in a real debate. So I'm going to ask all of them when we get this done, because this is the beginning of our introducing you to the next governor of Georgia, whoever it may be, the voters decide. And we will invite, for those out there, okay, we will invite the Democrat candidates to come interview. We will. That's a promise right now. We will invite Stacey Abrams and Stacey Evans to drive up to North Georgia and interview just like any other primary candidate that's running. Okay, so yesterday, let me tell you something, man. I'm tired of getting in trouble for everything. I mean, it's just like, Sam, every water bottle in the place cannot belong to me. I get in trouble if there's a water bottle anywhere. I am tired of getting in trouble for everything that happens around here. You understand?
Hey, we're trying to keep it high and tight in here.
Folks, I'm your host, BKP. Let me go over just a couple other brief things that we're going to talk about. Don't forget exculpatory, and I forget the other word. We're going to go over that. Georgia adoption bill. Georgia adoption bill may be just what would keep HQ2 Amazon out of here. Did HQ2 Amazon tip their hat yesterday of what city they are interested in going to, who they may choose? Did they pick who they wanted to go to? The new map means that Democrats can expect to compete in the majority of 18 congressional races in November, with experts generally concurring that they could pick up more than 10 seats. 10 seats. That's right. No, not there. Put the Amazon map down. Pennsylvania. Put the Pennsylvania congressional map. I'm sorry. Put that up there, because this is the statement. All right. That's the new congressional map. We'll explain that later. Experts generally concur they could pick up as many as 10 seats, the Democrats. Democrats need 24 seats total to take back the House of Representatives. So this could have enormous implications on the control of Congress. Oh, be still my heart. Okay, folks, when we come back from break, we are going to start our series of Meet Your Governor candidates. This is Secretary of State Brian Kemp. And after my interview with Secretary of State Brian Kemp, we will come back and start digging into this here. Do you agree that religious groups that have religious adoption agencies or adoption agencies with religious affiliations, something, should have the opportunity to say to gay couples, hey, you can go to this adoption agency. There's a lot of adoption agencies, but we don't do that here. Should they be allowed to do that? Well, it may be possible in the state of Georgia. We'll see what you think. I'm your host, BKP. Right after these messages, meet the governor candidate, starting with Secretary of State Brian Kemp. Take us out of here.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Schottenkirk Ford in Jasper. Highway 515 South, Jasper. SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
Medium Pizza Hut pizzas, just $5.99 each.
Did they say Pizza Hut?
For $5.99?
Yes, and yes.
Yes. Introducing the deal you want on the pizza you crave. 2 medium pizzas, just $5.99 each. No one out pizzas the hot.
Hey, we're glad to have with us today the Georgia Secretary of State and also candidate for governor, Brian Kemp. Secretary Kemp, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be on with you.
I know you're on your tour buses outside. Is it 50 counties and?
Yeah, 50 counties in 10 days. So we're sticking and moving.
How many stops are you making a day?
Oh, probably right around 5. So we had a very busy day yesterday. We started our first one at 7:30, and we finished Morgan County big Republican Party President's Day dinner last night. That's probably 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30 when we got out of there, and then we had to drive back to Atlanta because we all met there this morning and drove up to Dahlonega. So we had to be in Dahlonega at 7:30. So I got in bed kind of late and left kind of early. But that's what you do on a bus tour.
That's campaigning, right?
Yeah.
The 50 states. The focus is rural Georgia in this trip. Is it not? Is it more?
No. Well, we're really hitting everything. I mean, we're trying to hit a wide variety, covering the whole state. Obviously, we can't get to 159 counties in 10 days, but we're going close to pretty much everything. So, we're going rural, we're going urban, we're going suburban. I mean, we're working the whole state. That's the plan.
Let's get right into your candidacy for governor. Several of your opponents, some of them are on the floor at the House, down under the Gold Dome, some are on the Senate side. I'm just going to ask you direct, what House bills or Senate bills do you feel are taking place on the floor right now while you and I are sitting in LJ, Georgia, that may be political posturing?
Well, I think certainly some of the elections, voting equipment debate on the Senate side has been posturing. The House side, we've actually been working with them for quite a while on, looking at replacing the state's uniform voting system. We actually have been leading the way on that. We did a pilot project way back in October and on the November election in the city of Conyers. It actually had a paper receipt with it. Worked very well. We did exit polling for that. The public liked it. The elections officials that used it liked it. But there's a lot of good technology that we can use in the future. We just got to decide what we want to go through the process to do that. Nobody was alarmed when they got reelected in 14. Nobody was alarmed when they got reelected in 16 and Donald Trump won the presidency. And nobody was alarmed when Karen Handel got elected to Congress over John Ossoff, even though he spent $30 million to try to beat her. But, the left, they try to raise doubt in our elections, and they're trying to confuse the public. But I'm completely confident with our voting system, and I think it's wrong for people to raise doubt in our system. I don't think there's any issues, asking questions about it or saying, what should we go to next? And we stand ready and willing to work with them to do that. But it takes a change in the law to do that. That's not a decision that the Secretary of State has.
What is the ideal voting system for Georgia that you would go with if you could put in place? Because I think right now we're hearing some catchwords. We're hearing Russian interference in our elections, which they had to make a correction when they added Georgia. They did, and I want to say that publicly. They had to make a correction when they did add Georgia and say that it wasn't. But Russian interference into the election, those are catchphrases, and all of a sudden the paper ballot has become a catchphrase. But one of the things that I have heard the most is on the electronic voting machines that there's no true recount process. So for Governor Kemp, what would be the ideal voting system for the citizens of Georgia?
Well, I think moving forward, certainly I would be supportive of having a verifiable paper audit trail. You know, our current equipment, a lot of people don't realize that it has a paper tape inside of it that punches every time you vote on it. So there's a way to tie the number of votes to how many people go through the precinct, and it actually spits out the election results. But that's all kept by the counties. It's hand delivered to our offices. So there's a lot of ways to, you know, audit and verify election results. Now, some people don't like that. They want to have a piece of paper that you can look at, and I certainly have no problem with that. And I think that's what we'll see in the future. It'll be some version that uses the speed of marking electronically, a paper ballot being rolled out of the machine that has your votes on it, where you can hold it, look at it, and then you go over and scan that. That's when the vote's actually counted. Saves the paper receipt, but then the tally's done electronically too. Because you always have to think about what happens if all the paper ballots disappear. You know, people that want to go back to strictly paper, you know, they never want to talk about, well, what happens if you have a bad election worker that goes in and steals a bunch of ballots, or you have somebody that counterfeits ballots and marks a bunch of them for one candidate and just throws them in the pile.
We've had situations where ballot boxes are missing and look, boxes of ballots are missing.
Ask Jimmy Carter about that. And even when that happens, you know, there's been more votes than people that went in the precinct, but the left is always going to say, we got to count every single vote. Got to count, no matter what it is, count every single vote, even if it's fraudulent. So I think there's a way to address all of that in the future, and we've been leading the way to do that. I would like to just speak to the NBC piece, and you know, that's really why Donald Trump has used the term fake news so much. I mean, they're talking about a story that is literally 18 months old, like it happened yesterday. Homeland Security has since come out and really gone after them on Twitter about the way they reported that story. They incorrectly reported Georgia being part of that. We have never been hacked. We were not hacked in the presidential election. Our voting system is not hooked to the internet. So if anybody were going to try to manipulate that system, they would literally have to break into a government building, then break into a separate office to even get to the equipment. And then it would take forever to try to manipulate the machines. And plus, we have many procedures that the elections officials go through to make sure that we're doing testing prior to that, to make sure that the machines are wiped clean and that everything's ready to go. That's done in a public process. And of course, the national media doesn't ever want to talk about that. They think somebody's just going to hack in through some network to our voting equipment. Well, it's not hooked to a network. Now, what we have to be vigilant about is our voter registration system, because it is web-based and it can be vulnerable, and it was in a couple of other states. But we had not been manipulated here because of the strong stance and the work that I've done as Secretary of State to protect our systems, privatizing our data center that makes it more secure. We have a private sector network security provider now that monitors 24/7 more intensely during the election period. So we've done a tremendous amount to protect against cybersecurity attacks.
Let's switch to HQ2, okay, Amazon. And let me set this up. Governor Deal, and we're not going backwards into his last two administrations, but we continue to hear Georgia's the #1 place in the United States to do business, #1 year after year after year. Some feel we've purchased those jobs that moved in when Mercedes came in and the tractor company from Illinois and Amazon came in with tax abatements, and we gave a lot away that small business doesn't get that opportunity or so forth. What's a Governor Kemp feel about negotiating with these massive corporations to come into Georgia to create jobs, but the tax abatement that goes with it?
Well, I would really point to two things. I mean, part of my, the first point of my conservative 4-point plan is to make Georgia #1 for small business. That's who I've been for over 30 years, including right now sitting in this chair. I own a construction company. We still have a lot of rental property. We lay rock every day. I own a timber farm. I'm involved in a couple of other ag-related businesses. So I've been fighting the good fight out there, and they're all truly small businesses. That is what drives our economy. That will be my focus as governor, and it's what drives the local economy here. And that's what will be my focus, to make Georgia #1 for small business. Whether you work in one, own one, want to start one, or whether you want to grow the one that you got. I think we do that by doing regulatory reform is a big first step. In regards to the Amazon or any other economic development project, I will be the governor that's going to ask, how much is it going to cost, who's going to pay for it, and are we getting a good return on investment? And those are the questions that we need to ask. I think you've got to compete in that world, whether you like it or not, to be able to move the needle on some bigger projects. But you also have to be realistic that you don't want to give away more than you're going to get in return. And I've been supportive of the idea of bringing Amazon here, bringing HQ2 here, but I've also said many times it's not the end of the world if we don't get them. We don't need to give the farm away to get them. I think we'll have a competitive package. I certainly believe Governor Deal and our Department of Economic Development will do that, as well as others that are working on the project. But the governor's shown in the past that he's not going to go too far. I mean, we didn't on Volvo. We lost that to South Carolina because they basically gave away the farm. So, I'll certainly be a governor that's going to ask how much is it going to cost and who's going to pay for it. And also kind of ask the question of, look, where could we use those resources somewhere else where we may get a bigger bang for our buck instead of just trying to get, one company over here. If you think about spreading that money out across all of our state, doing projects by region that you could get, it really helps move the whole state forward, which is the third point of our conservative 4-point plan, and that's make sure all of our state is moving forward, specifically focusing on rural Georgia.
Obviously, you wouldn't want to say that obviously you're going to support economic development and growth within the state of Georgia, but what I'm getting at, would a Governor Kemp look at as strongly as the current governor at, my words, importing these major corporations at the tax breaks? Is that something that you feel Governor Kemp would be interested in going out and bringing those companies in?
I think you have to do that to compete in that part of the world. But you also got to pick what you want to do. Because let's just say, instead of talking about Amazon, let's say there's a big food processor in California that is getting overregulated and overtaxed, and they don't have enough water to do their production in that state, which is what's happening. States like California, Maryland, and others. I will be a Governor Kemp that will go to those manufacturers and say, come bring your plant to a part of our state where we need jobs, need investment, where we have agricultural products that you could vertically integrate that would create a tax base in those communities. We've got a great business environment. We're going to be lower taxed than where you currently are, and we got a better regulatory environment. Plus, we have the water that you need. Those are the kind of things I want to do as governor, and that's spelled out in our plan to strengthen rural Georgia that's on our website, that will create an economic development strike team that will focus on finding where the areas are in our state, what the assets are, and finding the right people at the local level that actually want to work on those projects along with state government to move the needle so everybody's got skin in the game and you can make some things happen. And I think that needs to be done by a targeted approach, and that's the one we'll have when I'm governor.
The infrastructure and transportation bill that are being looked at in Atlanta, there is we hear a lot of times two Georgias, okay? And you're in Ellijay, Georgia today with us, and we appreciate you stopping up here with us today. And you've been to Dahlonega, and you've been to Fannin County, you've been to several places. I think what sometimes we say in rural Georgia is, why do we have to pay for it? Would a Governor Kemp, what is your plan for infrastructure and to the transportation in and around Metro Atlanta?
I'm glad you asked that, because again, it goes back to, I'm going to be the governor that's going to ask how much it's going to cost and who's going to pay for it. And I said early on in this campaign, I mean, look, I know the state's growing. I know we have congestion problems in Atlanta, and I believe there's common sense solutions to a lot of those. But I also understand that as somebody that's traveled to all 159 counties in our state and that has a better feel for what's happening all across our state better than anybody else in the governor's race. And I'm not just saying that because it's a good campaign talking point. I believe it because I've been there. I've spent time in these communities. We're working with every elections office, so we're involved with the counties a lot. And I said early on, people outside of Atlanta do not want to pay for Atlanta's congestion relief. And we need to make sure we're getting a good return on investment on our transportation dollars, because you're never going to, outbridge and outpave congestion problems in Atlanta. It's just not going to happen. So we need to look at common sense solutions where we're getting the best bang for our buck, like a report that shows, doing a 4-lane from Macon over to LaGrange, then 4-lane in Highway 27 or up toward Chattanooga. So you get all the truck traffic coming out of the port and up 75 south that doesn't need to go to Atlanta or the metro area, and have them bypassing Atlanta. I mean, that is a project that's on the books, that's got the best return on investment. We also need to continue to build out and provide the resources we need to our inland ports, so those north of Atlanta and south, so we can continue to move those containers that are being hauled by tractor trailer and by truck, to put them on rail so they're not going through downtown Atlanta, which will free up space on our highways. But we've also, that being said, I'm also supportive of the regional efforts that's going on in Atlanta, for them to help themselves, for them to raise the tax dollars that they need to do some innovative things with transportation. And everybody's talking about heavy rail. I mean, look, heavy rail, it'd be great, but nobody's saying how much is it going to cost and who's going to pay for it and how long is it going to take to implement. Now, I've heard others talking about rapid bus transit, where you dedicate a lane that you could use buses today, but that lane tomorrow may be autonomous vehicles that are traveling 90 miles an hour bumper to bumper. I mean, you think about how much more asphalt you could use traveling at high speeds than you do now. There's plenty of bumper-to-bumper traffic in Atlanta, but it's moving at 5 miles an hour. Think about if it was moving at 90 when you have, self-communicating cars, self-driving cars that are in their own dedicated lane, moving traffic through downtown. So we have to continue to think innovatively as well.
I know you're in a hurry. I got to have a couple more. This one might take a minute, and then I have a couple quick ones before we close. SB 366. SB 366 is to establish a review it's a compensation study. Okay.
Right.
All right. Now let me ask you my question here for law enforcement. I think in the last budget or budget before, 2 years ago maybe, the governor and the state passed I'm going to call it a well-deserved increase for the Georgia State Patrol and some other state employees. And at that time, that immediately sparked the discussion with city and municipality law enforcement, their wages, sheriffs and their deputies and their wages. But what the governor did comes out of the state budget. What the discussion here is out of your county, your sheriff and deputies are paid out of your property tax. I mean, same thing with your law enforcement, your city. How do you feel about this study that they're looking to do, and then maybe mandating or putting together these compensation grant programs? I mean, isn't that kind of like the state mandating? Do you know where I'm going with that, sir?
Yeah, I know where you're going. Everybody's for local control until they're not.
Okay, all right. I want to say, we have a great sheriff in this county. We like him. Sheriff in the counties we like. And I'm not saying whether or not they deserve a raise or not. My concern is the budget or the pool of money that comes out and who's making the decision.
Well, let me just say this. I mean, I'm the only candidate in the governor's race that has a law enforcement under their purview. We have 20 post-certified investigators that do complex investigations dealing with securities fraud from a financial standpoint, financial investment type things, election law, certainly, voter fraud cases, things of that, and then professional licensing violations. So people that are doing unlicensed practice or people that are abusing the laws and rules we have to protect the public. So I understand law enforcement very well. Also used to chair the Public Safety and Homeland Security committee when I was in the legislature, so I worked with the Sheriff's Association, I worked with the GBI, the crime labs, the state patrol, the Department of Public Safety, and all of them, for all kind of first responders. And I support, pay raises in law enforcement. I know they need them, but I do not support having a minimum wage that's dictated by the state government down to the county level. I mean, that is taking away local control. And if you're going to have that, then you're going to have state control. And I don't know of any sheriffs out there that want more state involvement. If anything, they want less. So that's why you elect your county commissioners. And that's who decides how much county employees get paid. And quite honestly, there's many communities across our state that have been tackling the issue with law enforcement pays. I know last week Gwinnett County's talking about it, or I think Gwinnett County's already done it, or they're proposing it in this year's budget. They're talking about it up in Cobb. They've already done it, over near me in Oconee County and many other communities around the state. And that, quite honestly, is where it needs to be tackled. But I'm also sympathetic to our rural counties that may not have the tax base to do that. So, I'm certainly not saying I won't work with people to do that. But I have a lot of sympathy for local control and the county commission being able to decide, how much a deputy up in this part of the world may make versus one in rural South Georgia, because the pay scales are different. I think we get in a slippery slope if the state's trying to mandate that to the local governments.
Let me tell you what my concern is on that. When I read law enforcement compensation grants for poor counties, okay, I parallel that to there's a lot of counties well-deserving, the children in South Georgia well-deserving of an education, and other counties, the kids are deserving of an education. But in our education system, we have what's called donor counties. I call it donor counties.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying, yes, sir? So if something like this, I just get that feeling like, if you're going to put, where do these grants come from? Where do the funds come from? Are we going to end up in a school system type situation where some counties are donor counties? Do you understand you know what I'm saying?
I completely get it, and that's
my concern.
Well, and that's a reason that if you're for true local control, you have to be for local control. You can't have it. I'm for local control, except when it comes to law enforcement pay. And I understand the law enforcement. There's many people out there that need pay raises, but the scale's not the same everywhere, and that's a local decision. It doesn't mean that the state cannot continue to work on problems that we have in law enforcement, like giving them more and more mandates and having them do more work, but then the state keep the fees. Those are some of the things that I think we can work with law enforcement.
The only thing, sir, Mr. Secretary, is I want to say we support law enforcement.
Absolutely.
We thank our law enforcement on a daily basis for providing the safety that we have, and we respect them. Okay, but I've yet to see the state help in any way that they didn't send the book of regulations that went with it. I'm a nervous wreck about if the state says they would like to help. Is the next thing in the mailbox is the book of regulations.
Well, there's a good example at the federal level right now dealing with elections. There's a bill up there that's trying to allow for federal intervention, and they're basically playing it in elections, and they're playing it because we want to give the states help to deal with cybersecurity. But the devil's in the details. You start reading that legislation, and it has all these mandates that you have on you, so there's all these strings attached. And then if you ever have something happen, it opens your front door up to the feds to come in. And I just don't think that's a good idea. It's not a good idea for the feds to be doing that to the states. That's a duty that we have and that we should take care of. And we're doing that here in Georgia, and we're very vigilant and work hard on that every day. But there's also issues that the county needs to be dealing with, and not the state. And they're tough issues. And it's not saying that I won't work with law enforcement on pay issues, but that's an issue that's best solved, I believe, at the local community.
2015 budget, the Georgia State operating budget, $20.8 billion. 2019, the proposed $26 billion. 5 years, $5.2 billion in 5 years in increased spending, because they spend it. Would Governor Kemp look at reducing the rate of spending if it's coming in? Is it time that maybe we can reduce the rate of spending and give some back to the citizens and some tax cuts.
Absolutely.
Look at capping some things or even cutting some things. I mean, I'm not trying to take our interview negative with the current administration, but $5.2 billion in spending, and what say you?
Well,
on the budget?
I say you're exactly right. Part of the second point of our plan is to fundamentally reform state government, the way it spends taxes and operates. A big part of that is implementing a spending cap that ties our state budget spending to population and inflation. That will keep us in check, especially in good times like we're in now, and it will allow us to have real tax reform when I'm governor. You know, there's been growth in the budget, and there needed to be some because of the austerity cuts that we had during the recession. I mean, it was cutting to the bone. So we needed to fund money back, I believe, to education. We needed, you know, we've done the Transportation Infrastructure Act, so there's been an increase in spending there, which, you know, people supported that, or at least their representatives did. The governor this year put $361 million in the budget to shore up the teachers' retirement fund. Plus, we put, I think over $2.5 billion now into our reserve fund when we didn't have one really when Governor Deal got in office. So I give him a lot of credit for that. But now that we're at this point, it's now time, while things are good, to implement the spending cap. So it forces us to budget conservatively in good times, where we fund the things we need to, like public safety, like healthcare, like transportation, and like education. And then we cut out a lot of the frou-frou that we have in government and really hold the line on spending. We're gaining every year on good reserves. You have a low revenue estimate, you got money left over, and then you have real tax reform. But I want to be the governor that does a spending cap and then has tax reform for everybody. Because everybody in the race has been talking about tax reform. They're all talking about what they're going to do. Well, they've all been serving in the legislature. We haven't done anything yet except for helping the special interest. So I will be the governor that will implement the spending cap on day one, and then we'll also have tax reform that helps all Georgians.
Okay, I'm being told our time is out, so rapid fire. I don't want to slow you down or stop you from answering these. I know you have a busy day. I do want to get a comment on Senate Bill 375, the Keep Faith in Adoption and Foster Care Act. I understand today the Senate Judiciary Committee cleared it 5-3, so it's passed the judiciary hurdles. What say you?
Well, I support religious freedom. I've signed the pledge to sign a bill that references the federal statute, which is, to me, is the right thing to do. It's what this country was founded on. If we pass that, Senate Bill 375, it doesn't even matter what it does. But regardless of that, as governor, I will not support forcing religious institutions to do gay adoptions. And that's really what I think that bill is about. I believe those protections are in the law now, and as governor, I'll protect those for folks that want to undo that.
Driver's license test, English only?
Well, I think on the English only thing, it depends on what the form is. I mean, I'm certainly a believer that English is the official language of this country and this state. We're dealing with issues that counties are getting sued now, or the threat of lawsuits for providing, foreign language, voting information. That's really a sad thing to me. I don't agree with it, but I understand why they're being forced to deal with that with federal law. I do think there are certain places where we need foreign language forms for those that are here legally doing business in our country to be able to deal with our system. But if people are going to be driving here and be citizens, they need to learn English. And if they're voting, they need to do the same thing. And that's what I've pushed as Secretary of State.
We need actually an immigrant work program for South Georgia throughout the years. What does that look like for Governor Kemp? What would you propose to make sure our farmers in South Georgia were able to get the help they needed during the times that they needed?
Well, I will be a governor that will be strong on illegal immigration, going after criminal illegals that are in our state to deport them and send them home. Our taxpayers should not be worried about them breaking into their house, kicking their front door in, shooting their children up, or be paying for them to sit in our jails. I will also make sure that we enforce the ban on sanctuary cities. It's time to put Georgians first. That's the 4th point of our conservative 4-point plan, is putting Georgians first ahead of those that are here illegally, the special interest, and the politically correct. And I've got a record of fighting for that as Secretary of State. I was the first candidate in the governor's race to come out and support Senator Perdue and Tom Cotton on their immigration legislation,
the RAISE
Act, which ends chain migration, cuts the number of I think by more than 50% of the immigration numbers that are coming in. I certainly support the president on building the wall, and I'll take it even further than the physical wall. I'm for a virtual wall, a human wall, whatever wall it is, to keep, we've got to have some order at our border and secure our border, and that helps with, the drug element that's coming into our state that's killing our children, the opioid epidemic, and other things. So I'll be a governor that will focus hard on that, but also understand that we have farmers that need help getting their crops out of the field. So I'm certainly supportive of streamlining programs like the H-2A visa program, where they're not as costly, that you cut out the government red tape. To me, that's a natural fit as part of this whole reform package.
Rural hospitals are struggling. Lumpkin, I think it's Chesaning Regional, is struggling. You're sitting in a county where we do not have a hospital. We have what's called a micro hospital. Right. Indigent care in the state of Georgia, these rural hospitals just can't continue to pay those bills. Medicaid expansion, how do you handle health care in Georgia?
Well, the Democrats' idea of throwing more money at Medicaid, a program that's failing and not working now and not providing enough to the providers so they're not even doing it anymore, does not work. That is why we cannot continue to provide indigent care to those people that are here illegally and give them government benefits. So I will be working to deal with that issue. I talked to a guy at a hospital the other day that they had paid, I can't remember if it was $6 or $12 million in indigent care to illegals, is what he told me. So I think that's part of it. But also part of our plan to strengthen rural Georgia is to work on investment in these communities where you have projects of significance, where you start growing the population back. No formula for rural health care is going to work if you continue to have shrinking populations. So we need a governor that's going to focus on those areas, focus on better opportunities in those areas, like our plan for strengthening rural Georgia has in them, to move the needle and change the tide of shrinking populations in rural Georgia. And as many problems as we have there, I see great opportunity, because we have, as we talked earlier, we have great assets with our land, our water, hardworking people for the most part. But I'm also a believer that we cannot continue, the government cannot, and this is at the federal level mostly, we cannot continue to pay people to sit home and not work when they're able to do that.
Our time is up, and I know they're letting me know over in the control room that the time is up, and you got to move on. You got several more stops. Tell us why the voters of Georgia should choose Brian Kemp for their next governor. Why should they vote for you?
Well, I think people should vote for me for governor because, number one, I have a record of doing what I say when I'm campaigning and actually doing that in office, like we've done in the Secretary of State's office, suing the Obama Justice Department twice to protect our citizenship check and our common sense photo ID laws, streamlining government, cutting our budget 25%, losing almost 35% of our people, but finding out a way to do more with less. That's exactly what I will do as your governor. I've got a record of doing that. And to the voters, I would tell them, the question for them is, who do you trust? Who do you trust to actually implement what they say? And I have a record of doing that. You can see that record in our plans on our website, which is kempforgovernor.com.
Well, Secretary, thank you very much. We'll tell you, we tell all candidates this. We wish you well in your campaign, and we thank you for your willingness to serve the citizens of Georgia. We appreciate you stopping by. I'm your host, BKP, and this is Secretary of State Brian Kemp, also candidate for governor of the state of Folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and that is the first of our Meet the Candidate, Georgia Candidates for Governors series. Current Secretary of State Brian Kemp. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Obviously, things could change. And right now, I'm going to change the direction of the show for some particular reasons. I guess I'm going to use the word priority. It's a priority in this country, I think, right now, to stop and take all the time needed to honor and talk about Dr. Billy Graham. At 99, Dr. Billy Graham has died at 99. Have you ever been to a Billy Graham crusade? Have you ever been to a Billy Graham crusade? Did you ever watch one on TV when you were a kid and your mom and dad sit you down and make you watch a Billy Graham crusade? Have you ever been to one, actually? I remember Billy Graham was going to be in Central Park. Let me say this was 1988. I'll give it 1988. Billy Graham was going to be in Central Park. Billy Graham Crusade, one day or in Central Park. And I forget who all was going to be with him. The Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, Beverly Shea, obviously. Okay. And I went to my pastor at the church at that time, 1988, and I said, "Can we get a bus? And can we get a bus and go to the Billy Graham Crusade in Madison Square Garden, or no, in the Meadowlands? This was in New Jersey. I'm sorry, in the Meadowlands. Okay, this is where the Giants used to play football, Giant Stadium or wherever, not Madison, not Central Park, the Meadowlands." And I said to my pastor, I said, "Can we get a bus?" And because we're a 50-minute drive from the Meadowlands, can we get a bus for the Billy Graham Crusade that's coming up? You know, there's a whole thing of how the crusade event works, and you register and everything like that. And he said, "I think that's a great idea. Handle it." He was a true pastor. He looked right at me and said, "Handle it. Great, handle it." Wait a minute, I didn't. Okay, so we got a bus. We put a bus together. A couple of friends of mine. We rented a bus, the big bus. You know, what will they haul? 80 people, whatever it hauls. Okay, and we got a sign-up sheet, and we filled the bus. And we went to the Billy Graham Crusade there in the Meadowlands. And I'll never forget going and seeing Billy Graham preach in the Meadowlands in 1988. America's pastor, okay? America's pastor. I want to look at some of the presidents, but first, I want to play this clip, okay? Dr. Billy Graham. This is Dr. Billy Graham. It's Timeless Truth Happiness. Do you have that one? Tell me, the title is Billy Graham, Timeless Truth, Happiness. Okay, Dr. Billy Graham, listen to these words at this crusade here, I think in Lexington, Kentucky, but listen to these words.
I've seen men spend their lifetime making money, and I know some of the richest men in America, and I know how miserable some of them are. I've seen men strive all their lives to attain political power. And they get political power. They get the office they were seeking, but it doesn't bring the peace and the joy and the happiness and the fulfillment they thought it would. But here's an interesting thing. I've never seen a person give their lives to Jesus Christ sincerely, but what they didn't find what they were looking for. He satisfies the deepest longings of our hearts and our lives. I wonder how many more sermons it would take to win you to Christ. How many more warnings will God have to give you? How many more graves will have to be dug? How many more wars will have to be fought? How many more earthquakes or tornadoes and floods will have to come before you make your decision? The thief on the cross took that one moment and said, Lord, remember me. And in that moment, Jesus said, thou shalt be with me in paradise. That quick, you can make your decision and commitment. And remember, God loves you. He has a plan for your life. You're sinful. You're separated from God by sin. And some of the results of this sin are worry and irritability and lack of purpose in life, as well as some of the gross, immoral sins that we read about. God has provided the cross as a means for you to be forgiven of sin. But you must individually receive Christ as your Lord and your Savior. You, and you alone, in the quiet arena of your heart, will have to make that decision.
I don't think I have this picture. I don't think I have this picture, but as I call out some of these pictures, Billy Graham was the pastor to the president. The first president Billy Graham met, was Harry Truman. Harry Truman is the first president Billy Graham met. I don't have a picture of that. The second one that Billy Graham met there is he's Dwight Eisenhower. Do you have Eisenhower's picture as Billy Graham with Eisenhower? Okay. He was American. I tell you what, he was the president's, going back to Truman. Kennedy, Billy Graham, John F. Kennedy, right there. Billy Graham with John F. Kennedy. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, President LBJ. You should have one there that just says, LBJ. That's Billy Graham and LBJ. Nixon, Billy Graham and Nixon, right there. All right. Dr. Billy Graham, evangelist. Gerald Ford. Ford was pictured there. President Gerald Ford. Let's see, also Jimmy Carter. He was there with Jimmy Carter. Billy Graham was. Ronald Reagan. I've got two at Reagan. Let's go through Billy Graham, two with Reagan. There's one with Reagan. Let's hit the other one. Should be Reagan too, I think, or Reagan. Another one. I think I misspelled it. Actually, there it is. Billy Graham with Reagan. George H. Bush. They have a George H. Bush. George H. There you go. Billy Graham with George H. Bill Clinton. Billy Graham with Bill Clinton. Now, there's Billy Graham with Bill Clinton. All right. And then we have Billy Graham with George W. George W. There with George and Laura. Billy Graham with George W. And Billy Graham with Barack Obama. All right. There's Barack Obama. And I think that's all the pictures I have right now of Dr. Billy Graham and all of the presidents of the United States, starting with Harry S. Truman. And I'm not for sure whether President Trump met Billy Graham. 99, Pastor Dr. Billy Graham, you know, if you ever got a chance to go to a Billy Graham crusade, and got a chance to hear George Beverly Shea sing How Great Thou Art at the crusade. And Billy Graham, you know, I tell you all the time, I don't want to get religious on the show. I tell you that all the time. I don't like to go in different directions that, you know, I don't want to go in a different direction. But what I want to say is, you know, Christianity, you know, we're only 2 weeks, we're only a week ago that Joy Behar said Christianity was, you know, basically mental illness, okay? I think Joy Behar should look at all of these pictures and all the guidance that Dr. Billy Graham gave to our presidents throughout the years. And, you know, and Joy Behar, Christianity, which you don't know anything about and you think it's mental illness, Christians should strive, and let me see how I put that, to on that day, you hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And if you could aspire to be like anyone, Dr. Billy Graham, I think, I'm pretty positive, heard, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." He was a servant to his Lord his whole life. And millions of not just Americans, people around the world, through his endless, tireless crusades, know Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. And Joy Behar, that's how it works, okay, for you out there that call that a mental illness. I have one more short clip, not the long one. There's another short clip I'd like to play in my final tribute before we go back to the other areas of the show. Do you have that one? The other short one? I think I sent you another one that's a couple minutes video. Okay, this is a final clip that we're going to play from Dr. Billy Graham, dead, 99 years old, before we go back to the other subjects in the morning.
Every person that ever lived has to make the same choice. It's either the world and its pleasures and its gods, or it's Christ. Which is it for you? Who are you choosing? Who are you voting for? Choosing rather to suffer the affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Oh yes, there's pleasure in sin for a short time, but it's soon over. The hangover comes, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to be there. Choose Christ, and there'll never be a hangover except joy and peace. And it's an urgent decision, because to delay makes the right decision harder. Indecision in itself is a choice. Not to decide is to decide not to. If you have a ticket for a flight to Atlanta tonight and can't decide whether to go or not, if you wait past the departure time, the choice will have been made. The plane will take off without you. Decisions are made whether we make them or not. Time decides if you will not. And time always decides against you.
Time always decides against you. Time is... So, Dr. Billy Graham, dead at 99. Now, let's take a short break so that way I can have a clean cut and come back and we can wrap up the last 30 minutes, because I do want to go through my 2 words of the day and some other things going on in Georgia about the Georgia adoption bill, okay? Take us a break.
Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's TEAS. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ella-J next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ella-J next to Walmart.
It's just this simple. Nobody beats Days on price. If it's a Chevy, you'll pay less at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $4,000 off a new 2018 Chevy Malibu, or save up to $10,000 off a new 2018 Silverado Crew Cab. It doesn't matter which Chevy you choose. Nobody beats Days on price. $10,000 off Silverados and $4,000 off Malibus at Days Chevy in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Folks, we're back. I just want to cover this very quickly before we wrap up today. We've got 30 minutes. We're going to move through some stories, and I'm going to try to do them and be coherent to where, try to stay focused. General Flynn, this is not on the pages of any of we know of the Nunes. Devin Nunes is going for the second round. They're going to hopefully pull Obama into this corruption with this fake dossier and the FISA court, and we know all the details we have there now. Mueller has his Russians that are indicted. But General Flynn, it's interesting. Mueller can indict Russians. He can indict. Russians. He can indict attorneys. He can indict somebody for jaywalking in this. But the fact that the judge wants to see some things in Flynn's case is not making headlines. Now, General Flynn, if you'll listen close, Michael Flynn is not making the front page of the indictments right now, or the guilty pleas on anybody's radar screen for a reason. They don't want to try, and this is the deep state, they don't want to draw attention to this. Now, this Judge Emmett G. Sullivan, okay, he, in unexpected twist, judge in Flynn case asked Mueller for exculpatory evidence. Okay. Now, let me just say this: exculpatory evidence, and I put the definition up here. Exculpatory evidence is evidence favorable to the defendant, which would be Michael Flynn, in a criminal trial that exonerates or tends to exonerate the defendant of guilt. It is the opposite of inculpatory evidence, which tends to prove guilt. So this is not, if it was the other way around, you would have MSNBC, CNN, this would be a bombshell. The federal judge assigned to the criminal case against Trump's former National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, has ordered special counsel Robert Mueller to turn over any exculpatory evidence that may show that Flynn is not guilty, okay, to Flynn's defense team. Here, oddly, however, Flynn's legal team did not make the request. Instead, Judge Emmett C. Sullivan issued the order, at his discretion. He did it on his own, invoking the Brady Rule, which requires prosecutors to turn over previously unfiled evidence that may have a material impact on the defendant's case. Interestingly, 2 days before the order, Mueller filed a motion for an agreed-upon protective order regarding the use of evidence in the case, including sensitive material provided to Flynn's lawyers by the Office of the Special Counsel. This, on the left, you turn this around, this would be a bombshell report. Nothing. Crickets out there. Absolutely crickets. Exculpatory evidence that would prove he's not guilty is being asked for by a federal judge. Now, let's move to the next story of the day, and let me pull this up. And I want to pull this up for a reason, because remember, HQ2, put the map up of HQ2. Amazon is making a decision on where to build a $5 billion HQ2, a second headquarters in the United States. All right? And there's all those dots on the map are being considered, Atlanta being considered. But CNBC Politics published 17 hours ago, "No gay, no way" is wrong message on Amazon HQ2 decision. LGBT activists want Amazon to reject bids for its second headquarters from cities located in states without civil rights protections, urging employees like Amazon to boycott and sidestep states and regions. Wholesale is flawed. Regions wholesale is flawed at best and risky and harmful at worst. Welcoming more forward-thinking companies will help raise the tide of equality in states and lack of protection now. All right. So while the suspense mounts, however, some LGBT activists declare "no gay, no way," putting pressure on Amazon not to go anywhere, okay? As LGBT leaders in Georgia and Virginia, we take that in good faith. However, also fear that urgent employers like Amazon to boycott and sidestep states and regions wholesale is flawed at best and risky and harmful to worse. Okay, this begs the question whether this approach paused long enough to listen to LGBT community leaders, activists, and business owners in affected states include Virginia, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, and Pennsylvania. So, HQ2, what is that going to do? Watch a bill. I want you to watch a bill in the House. Now, we have updated the House and the Senate. Georgia has updated their adoption laws. Okay, take that down. And they've passed an adoption bill to update our adoption rules that are antiquated for years. But then comes along what's called SB 375. Keep Faith in Adoption and Foster Care Act. Okay? The bill related to children and youth services so as to allow a child placing agency to decline to accept a referral from the department and decline to perform services not referred under contract with the department based on child placing agencies' sincerely held religious beliefs. So, Catholic charities, I think it's Catholic charities, but Catholic adoption agencies can say, if this bill passed, or faith-based, religious faith-based adoption agencies can turn down a request and refer it to another adoption agency, SB 375. So, what is the first thing the AJC would do? Georgia might let adoption agencies use religion to refuse gay couples. If you believe several Georgia senators allowing adoption agencies to turn away married gay couples would result in more adoptions of foster children, they reason that most Christian adoption providers will open in Georgia if the government protects their religious objectives to same-sex parents adopting. Okay? The legislation is the latest religious liberty effort in Georgia, a proposal moving through the state Senate despite fears from business leaders, and it could harm the state's reputation as Amazon is deciding where to build its second giant headquarters. Amazon children. We are kids marching in the street over guns. Adoption agencies, Amazon, it could hurt. This bill, see, I read the first one. What did it say? No gay, no way. Then what's the AJC do? They say that this bill here, why? If they're not saying, we need to be clear, adoption in Georgia, Georgia is not making it illegal for same-sex couples to adopt. They're not. There will be multiple agencies statewide that will let or accept applications from same-sex couples. But, for example, Catholic charities do not. Now, they could say, look, here's a list of agencies that will be glad to help you. We're just not one of them. All right? Religious belief. This has come out of the Senate. It passed in the Senate. This is SB, if you want to follow this, okay? SB 375. And it's called the Keep Faith in Adoption and Foster Care Act. It was voted yes out of the Senate, okay? It will be voted It made it out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now, what does that mean? That means they send the bills in after Senate votes on it to the Judiciary Committee. They rifle through it, cross things out, and doctor it up to make sure it will meet the legal mustard of the Georgia Constitution / legal challenges it will face. All right, it's going to move over to the House, and we're going to see what happens to it in the House. But my prediction is they've already set this up, okay? And Governor Nathan Deal, if it passes both houses, and Governor Nathan Deal thinks that this will hurt, let me just say this. I don't know when HQ2 is going to be decided, Amazon. But if Nathan Deal gets an opportunity to veto this bill, okay, or you start hearing in the media that he will veto this bill, watch and see whether he chooses religious liberty. You remember, my opinion, how lawmakers on both sides, the Senate and the House in the state of Georgia, a couple years ago, passed a religious liberty bill that the governor said went too far, and he vetoed it. What did that do? That gave all the politicians cover to go out and re-campaign, because the governor was not up for re-election. So he didn't take any heat, right? He didn't take any heat. So the legislature in Georgia looked like heroes on both sides, Senate and House, that they passed a good religious liberty bill, and the governor vetoed it. Well, they run cover. There's their cover. They go out and campaign and said, I'm for religious liberty. I voted for it. It passed the House. It passed the Senate. I think this right here could be the next bill that they get to go and campaign on, but the governor will veto. My prediction is if Governor Deal has to choose between HQ2, okay, Amazon, or sends a message to Amazon that this will be, okay, this will be vetoed, then I'm telling you right now, he'll choose HQ2. So that's $375. Please keep an eye on that. You understand where I'm at, Amanda? Are you paying attention?
Yes, I do.
All right. Watch and see, folks. Watch and see. All right, let's see what I have up here now. Did Amazon employees unwittingly, where is Amazon HQ2? Go ahead and put that map back up. Did Amazon employees unwittingly reveal, okay, did they reveal the location of HQ2? Did Amazon employees sitting around in their luxurious Seattle headquarters just tip the company's hand and unwittingly reveal the second Amazon headquarters? Speculation is intensifying around Arlington, Virginia, okay, now, which covers the Arlington area, noticed a curious development on its website, an article from December entitled County wins top environmental award from U.S. Green Building Council, suddenly rocketed back to become one of the site's most popular viewed articles in the past. They noticed where the activity is coming from, okay? And the activity happens to be coming from Seattle. The bulk of the traffic was traced to an internal Amazon.com page devoted to company's HQ2 search. That's where the bulk of the traffic was coming from, an Amazon dedicated page to the HQ2 search. So maybe Georgia is out of the mix. Maybe it's Arlington, Virginia. Maybe they're setting us up for, you never know. Okay, now, my final story this morning, I'm going to recap for one more reason, okay? Let me see if President Donald Trump has done anything on the Twitter deck here You never know. You never know with that guy. You got to check in. You got to check in. Okay. I don't have. Let's see. What do we have here? What has Trump done? 6 minutes ago. Just 6 minutes ago. Okay. Here's 24 minutes ago. 24 minutes ago, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, ran on Twitter, "The great Billy Graham is dead. There was nobody like him. He will be missed by Christians and all religions. A very special man." 24 minutes ago. 6 minutes ago. Here's a question for you. Donald Trump said a question, okay? It's just a question. Donald J. Trump, question. If all of the Russian meddling took place during the Obama administration right up to January 20th, why aren't they the subject of the investigation? Why didn't Obama do something about the meddling? Why aren't Dem crimes under investigation? Ask Jeff Sessions. Ask Jeff Sessions why. Why are they not? He's just asking Jeff Sessions. He's asking Jeff Sessions why. Why are they not all under investigation? Ask Jeff Sessions. He'll tell you why they're not. I don't know. We will see. That was a pretty good one right there. I did like that one. Okay. Pennsylvania, we need 24. Now let's look at the liberal judges, and I'm going to give you the name. Let's go to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And I told you yesterday, what concerns me is why they don't want to lose if they can flip the House, okay, and flip the Senate. They don't want to lose the judges, okay? You have to stop and think about, yes, Obamacare was a massive piece of legislation, but what upheld Obamacare? The court, right? The court. They know, the deep state, the Democrats know they can't lose the courts, the activist judges. Everything President Donald Trump has done in the last year, over a year, up to DACA, the travel ban, whatever, boom, a court wants to stop it. They rush into a liberal court. Well, the other side is also true. They've used these liberal courts, okay, for their agenda, and that's how they've been legislating from the bench. Well, the state of Pennsylvania's liberal Supreme Court accepted new drawn map, all right, congressional map, that changes the geography there of the congressional districts to favor up to 10 more Democrats in the state. Now here's the liberal judges, and we have to, folks. We have to, they don't want to lose 2018. If Nancy Pelosi becomes Speaker of the House, the very first thing she will do is articles of impeachment against Donald Trump if she becomes Speaker of the House. Okay, period. All right? If we lose the Senate, you've only got 51 Republicans, which we really don't even have 51 votes, but if you lose the Senate, okay, don't think for 1 minute if Nancy Pelosi takes the House and the Republicans have the Senate. Let's say the Republicans end up 52-48 in the Senate, right? And Democrats end up with the House. Don't think we're safe. It's a Bill Clinton move. No, we're not. Because don't you think for 1 minute there's not 3 or 4 Republicans over there in the Senate that will vote to impeach Donald Trump. Don't think. Watch that. So this is the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Chief Justice right there in the center, the white robe there, white-haired guy in the center, Thomas G. Saylor. And then we have Justice Max Baer, Justice Deborah McCloskey Todd, Justice Christine Donahue, Justice Kevin M. Donahue, Justice David Welch, Justice Sally Updike Monday. That is your Pennsylvania liberal Supreme Court that actually moved. It's like when you play, it's like you're playing basketball and you say, all right, we're going to spot you 10 points. It doesn't matter what the game is. The court right there spotted Democrats basically 10 seats, okay? President Donald Trump came out yesterday. President Trump, Pennsylvania Republicans should appeal redistricting to the U.S. Supreme Court. Pennsylvania Republicans should appeal their state's court-drawn congressional map, district map, all the way to the Supreme Court. President Donald Trump wrote on Twitter on Tuesday in order to stop Democrats from pursuing an agenda that Trump claims will raise taxes and waste money. We have gone through this in great detail. Yesterday, there's a full explanation in a video I did yesterday with Lee Snover on our website. Okay, and hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm looking at this. This is from the New Yorker magazine. New Pennsylvania congressional map is a big win for Democrats. This is from the New Yorker. Pennsylvania Supreme Court issued a new redrawn map of the state's congressional districts on Monday, and it looks very good for Democrats. The map, which the court had ordered after ruling that the current version is overly partisan. So what happened is they went in and said, hey, it's over partisan, so the court ruled them to redraw it. The legislature did not redraw the map. You got to be clear on that, because the state legislature is the one that draws the map and they vote on it. It belongs to the state legislature, okay? But the court ordered them to redraw the map, okay? Stating that the districts ordered them, the ruling to current version was overly partisan, does away with the wackily shaped districts that are hallmarked for gerrymandering. It features contiguous counties that split far fewer counties, and as a bonus, a far easier on the eyes. It's better it's on the eyes, okay? The new map means Democrats can expect to compete in the majority of the 18 congressional races in November, with experts generally concurring that they pick up more than 10 seats. Democrats need 24. I'm confused if we're out there missing this story.
Wells Fargo has the...
I'm just confused, okay? Nancy Pelosi is measuring the drapes. They will try to impeach your president of the United States. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. This morning I got a text from Lisa this morning, and she has written something, and it's about social media, and I like it, and I'm going to read this to you. I asked her if I could read it out loud on the show. Lisa wrote this morning, and let's see if I can get it correctly. She likes to write little poems. I get my facts on Facebook, so I'm living in the know. I understand it's 90 with a chance of snow. The world can solve all problems. It's simple if you care. Within just 30 seconds, please hit like and share. We are all living a false identity tied to a glowing screen where we can be all that we are not, heroes behind the scene. If we all stop for just a moment and own what we have become, take a stand to make a change, refuse to function numb. Take time to help a neighbor instead of posting about his fall. Let's seize this grand opportunity before we go straight to hell. That was a rough ending. Before we go straight to hell. Did you like that?
I liked it. Good job, Lisa.
Yeah, that was She wrote that this morning. She writes about 3 or 4 poems a year. Okay. Anyhow, let's see. Amanda, I let the show get away. Obviously, we wanted to make sure we respectfully took the time to talk to about Dr. Billy Graham, and we had our first governor candidate interview. Brian Kemp. I've got 4. Was there anything on there that you've been looking up? I mean, you said bump stocks earlier. Is there anything concerning guns or anything like that? The last 4 minutes here, you have any comments on?
No, you got that earlier in our first segment, but pretty much, with the bump stock ban, it's not going to stop there. And I want to, if it's okay with you, post a funny meme of what I think about the bump stock ban.
Go ahead.
Once the show's done. So.
Go ahead. You can do that. You can post that. It's all right with me.
All right.
My nerves are shot, but
you guys be looking out for that.
All right. Be looking out for that. Yes, the President of the United States has ordered Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, to effective immediately or whatever to stop or put a halt to bump stocks or anything that would turn a weapon into an automatic weapon. The little kid, Sinead O'Connor, is yelling. I call her Sinead O'Connor. The kid that yells the loudest. Yes, we have a lot of new information on this David Hogg. Yes, we know the scripts have been written. Yes, we know the liberal left has focused in on these kids, and we're aware of everything there, and they don't catch us off guard. We're prepared for them. HQ2 coming to Georgia. What will happen with the adoption agencies? What will happen? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. If you ever want to send me messages, if you have research out there, you are our research team. We're not a big operation. You're the research team of this company out there. You can find us on Facebook. You can always text the show. This is my 24-hour, 7-day-a-week news hotline, 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700. Our email is chief@fetchernews.com, chief@fetchernews.com. Also, you can follow us on Twitter @FetcherNews, @FYNTV, okay? And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is FYNTV Fetcher News. If you'll subscribe anytime we're running a live broadcast or we upload a video, you will get a notification there. Facebook, all the above. Every Thursday at 8:30, we have Carla's Corner. Carla will be in tomorrow. Carla's Corner is at 8:30 every Thursday morning. And then Friday, we're at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, okay? Looking forward to that. Are you guys looking forward to the warm weather already? How about allergies? How many are taking, by a show of hands, how many are taking or ready to go get your allergy medication now? Okay, show of hands, everybody okay? Got the little headache going right here, knowing what it's from. But anyhow, every Friday we're at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, and we have our segment Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley. If you ever want to ask Dr. Whaley a question, all you do is send us an email, info @FetcherNews.com, and put in the subject line Ask the Doc. Ask the Doc. So we do Ask the Doc, and then our all-star political panel, and our pet of the week. The list goes on. It's Nap Wednesday. I'm going to get a nap in today, somehow, some way, somewhere, some why, or whoever, or whatever. I think I've said enough. There it is. I got the wrap it up sign. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. See you later.